Hajime Iwaizumi. He busted out laughing by whatever Kiryu had just told him, and as they entered the house, he pulled the door shut behind him. Ikoa was trembling. Heat and nervousness spread through his body. He almost panicked. Have I been so naive that I didn't expect him here? At that moment, Kiryu spotted Ikoa still standing in the doorway. Ikoa. Ikoa could see Iwaizumi's smile fading the moment Kiryu mouthed his name. Kiryu showed no hesitation and ran over to Ikoa to bump him into a hug. Obviously, they both fell to the ground and Ikoa couldn't help but laugh. Damn rooster. Kiryu. Be careful. Ikoa is already injured, you're hurting him even more. Huh? Ikoa smiled sheepishly and pointed to his crutches leaning against the wall. Hua? He stood up and helped Ikoa stand up as well. He wasn't sure if the collision with Kiryu really hurt him more. The alcohol had a somewhat numbing effect. As Ikoa regained eye contact with Iwaizumi, his smile slowly faded again as well. Ouch. That's worse than any bruise on my body. This is worse than my ankle. This is worse than any other physical pain I could ever feel. Kiryu hustled over to Kenma to pull him into a hello kiss, and then hurried back to Ikoa and pulled him into the next room so they could be alone. There was an armchair and another couch on which Kiryu sat down and opened his beer. You're always good for a surprise, huh? Ikoa hopped into the chair and grinned at Kiryu. He stretched his legs so that an inch of his bandaged ankle could be seen. They talked to each other, made fun of each other, and were quite childish. Kiryu was exuberant and having him here, making Ikoa laugh was the best distraction the setter could ever get. So, are you joining our team already? I was kinda upset you didn't text me this month. Kiryu tried to convince Ikoa to join the Japanese national team by writing him at least once per month to see if he changed his mind yet. I was busy. But let's just say my senses knew you were coming so I didn't have to write you and can ask you in person. Yeah right. They kept smiling, enjoying their conversations. After a while, a moment of silence passed, in which Ikoa couldn't help but think of Iwaizumi again. He was literally just in the next room. Kiryu carefully kicked Ikoa's healthy ankle. You know you can just talk to each other. Ikoa looked at him in surprise, but Kiryu had already figured it out since he saw Ikoa in his house. He had figured it out since he saw Ikoa's petrified face when he looked at Iwaizumi. That's probably why he bumped into him. To drive away all the negative thoughts. But they kept coming back. Ikoa stared at the cup in his hands. He hates me. How would you know? You should have seen his smile fade the moment he saw me. He was just surprised like the rest of us. Well, that was definitely not the face you make when you're surprised in a good way. You guys hadn't been in contact for almost 2 years. He didn't know how to react and neither did you, really. I could also see your face change when you looked at him. Ugh. Ikoa took another sip from his cup and was quite disappointed. Disappointed in himself. Suddenly, Kiryu's eyes widened and he smirked at Ikoa. Ikoa was all confused and turned to look in the same direction as his friend. He then quickly turned back to Kiryu, shaking his head. Don't. Kiryu, don't do this. Please don't. Yo, Iwaizumi. Iwaizumi nodded to Kiryu and walked in his direction. Ikoa's heart raced. He yelled. What the hell did you do? But he just smirked at Ikoa. Damn it. Stop smirking, stupid bastard. Shit. I'm not ready for this. Yo. Why are you sitting all by yours? Iwaizumi paused when he noticed Ikoa sitting in the chair. His face turned pale. I've got to go. Get another drink. Your cup is actually half full. No. Dumbus. Take a seat, master. You two cuties actually need to talk. I'm gonna look for Kenma anyway. Kiryu pushed Ikoa, who was willing to stand up, back to his seat and Iwaizumi a few steps closer to Ikoa, nodding toward the couch to make sure Iwaizumi sat down as well. While leaving the two alone, he accidentally bumped into Atsumu. Geez. Sorry. Nothing's happened. Oh Tsumu. You'd better keep an eye on our problem couple. Huh? Don't tell me they're actually talking to each other? I kinda pushed them into it. Don't know if this was a good move yet. You're a moron, Kiryu. Atsumu laughed and Kiryu smirked back at him. Atsumu took Sakusa's hand and pulled him along with him in the direction of Ikoa and Iwaizumi so they could spy on them. Iwaizumi couldn't move or speak. Seeing Ikoa after almost 2 years clearly overwhelmed him. Ikoa couldn't say anything either. He was panicking inside. Finally, Iwaizumi sat down and frowned. He pointed to Ikoa's ankle and broke the silence. What happened? Practice injury. Is it bad? No, it's nothing. A few weeks and I'll be back in top shape. Ikoa lied and waved a hand to calm the situation. Iwaizumi stared at the beer in his hand. He knew Ikoa hadn't said the truth because who was he lying to? Iwaizumi was an athletic trainer and could estimate how bad it really was just by looking at Ikoa's ankle. So, how are you? Dumb question. Dumb. Pretty dumb. I should probably slap myself for asking that dumb question. Why can't I just think before I speak for once? Iwaizumi glanced at Ikoa. He could see the setter immediately regretting his question. Iwaizumi got slightly mad, not knowing whether it was that stupid question itself or Ikoa regretting asking in the first place. Ikoa could see how pissed Iwaizumi was looking at him. Oh damn Kiryu, I hate you for putting me in this situation. Never mind. I think it's better if I just leave. It's not like I asked you to leave. Ikoa froze. They looked into each other's eyes. Ikoa's heart beat even faster, his stomach dropped, and for God's sake, he just couldn't stop looking into Iwaizumi's eyes. As if they were saying it. This is about their breakup. This is about Ikoa leaving Iwaizumi 2 years ago. Ikoa stared at Iwaizumi like a deer focused on car lights. He couldn't move, he couldn't look away. All his face expressed was don't do that, but Iwaizumi couldn't control his emotions. Maybe it was the alcohol kicking in easily, maybe it was his feelings coming up after 2 years of trying to hide and ignore them, maybe it was a combination of both. He was mad. He was upset. He was disappointed and he couldn't hold it back anymore. I'm so don't fucking say it if you don't even mean it. Ikoa looked at him in confusion. He pouted. I mean it. Look, I know I haven't been fair to you. Iwaizumi scoffed. Do you even know what it felt like to be abandoned from one day to the other? Having you around, being annoyingly clingy all the time, and then with a blink just leaving forever? You didn't even give me a chance to talk to you and ask you what was wrong. No, you just left. There was a moment of silence. Ikoa felt guilty because he knew Iwaizumi was right. He had never given him the chance to talk to him properly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt. Don't fucking say it. Don't say you didn't mean to hurt me when you exactly put up with that. Remember? You said you'd choose volleyball. You chose it over me. Over us. Iwaizumi stood up without taking his eyes off Ikoa. Ikoa looked up at him, not knowing what to say. Boy. Iwaizumi was mad. He clenched his fists but released them seconds later as if he had just been brought back to reality. He holds himself back. All his madness, all his anger, all his emotions, he still holds them back. Why the fuck did you come back anyway, Ikoa? We'd be better off without you. With that, he rushed out of the room and made his way past Atsumu and Sakusa. He hurried out of the house to clear his head in the cold winter breeze. After a while, Iwaizumi stopped. He was shaking, his hands clenching into fists again. Fuck. He mumbled and stared at the ground. Fuck. He hit the wall surrounding Kenma's house and actually broke some pieces out of it. His knuckles started to bleed slightly, so Iwaizumi covered them with his other hand. He sat down on the curb and stared at his knuckles. He was lost in his thoughts until he noticed that someone was about to sit down next to him. Kiryu. Kiryu handed Iwaizumi another bottle of beer. Both of them were silent for a while. You know Kenma will make you pay for this. Sorry. Iwaizumi replied, slightly annoyed. He took a sip of his beer and stared back at his knuckles again. How strong are you even? I honestly can't believe you broke pieces out of the wall. I'm pissed. Oh, I'm glad you said it, otherwise I wouldn't have noticed. Iwaizumi scoffed and shook his head. What the actual fuck is he even doing here? Did you know about this? No. I was as surprised as you to see him here. Guess this is on Kenma, but he didn't know you were coming today. I didn't tell him. He thought you were busy with paperwork, so I guess that's why he invited him. TSK, whatever. But what the hell is he even doing in Japan? He didn't bother coming for 2 years. Why now? It's not like he can't recover in Argentina as well. Well, in his defense, he still has family and friends here, who he also didn't bother to visit for 2 years. They both remained silent, sipping their beers, until Kiryu glanced at Iwaizumi. What? You look like a mess, Iwaizumi. Fuck off, rooster. Kiryu started to smile, which made the corners of Iwaizumi's mouth twitch a little as well. I didn't want this. I'm sorry. I thought if I gave the two of you a little push you'd clear some stuff up and talk things out. Yeah. I mean, being at a party, probably the both of us at least tipsy, that's clearly the best situation to talk about breakup stuff. Ag, shut up. I know, I'm sorry, okay. But I'm serious. Not tonight, but when you're sober. Talk. I really think you guys need this. Both of you. Iwaizumi shrugged and took the last sip of his beer. Even if we talked things out, what would it change? He stood up and looked at Kiryu. Kiryu did the same, his face serious. I know how much you are still suffering, and I could clearly see that Ikoa felt the same way. However, it turns out, maybe, just maybe, you will be able to move on. Iwaizumi exhaled deeply and gave Kiryu a weak smile. I'll see you, Kiryu. Kiryu raised an eyebrow and Iwaizumi turned and left. Kiryu stared at the point in the wall where Iwaizumi broke pieces out of it. Then he said silently, "Whatever you thought, Iwaizumi, you are not better off without him. And deep in your heart, you already know that you miss him too." The moment Iwaizumi left the house, Atsumu rushed to a pale-looking and trembling Ikoa. He hugged him tightly and whispered, "Let's go to your room." Ikoa didn't say a single word. Atsumu helped him stand up and gave him his crutches. On the way to Ikoa's guest room, Atsumu pressed his drink into Sakusa's hand. They stared into each other's eyes for a second, and Sakusa knew that Atsumu would take care of Ikoa. When they entered the room, they both sat down on the bed. Ikoa leaned back and pulled one leg onto his chest while the injured leg was stretched out. He wrapped his arms around his leg and buried his head in his knee. After a few minutes, Atsumu put a hand on Ikoa's head and began petting him. Ikoa looked up at him, tears already running down his face. Atsumu pulled Ikoa in his direction and embraced him tightly, warm and comforting. Ikoa leaned his head against Atsumu's shoulder and just let his tears fall, not even trying to stop a single one. After a while, Atsumu leaned back and Ikoa laid down and buried his face into Atsumu's belly. "Atsumu. Carver? I'm a piece of shit." Atsumu frowned. He ran his fingers through Ikoa's hair, trying to calm him down a little. "Stop saying that, Carver. Yeah, not." Ikoa turned his face to the side so he could see Atsumu's face. "He is right. Why did I even come? I could have stayed in Argentina to recover. Because you've got family and friends over here, Carver." "Yeah, but my family is in Miyagi and I'm in Tokyo right now. What did I expect? To not see him and still hang out with you guys? I am so stupid." Ikoa sobbed. His tears wouldn't stop falling down. "Carver, just because you broke up doesn't mean you're not allowed to see us anymore. Yeah, Iwaizumi hangs out with us a lot too. I mean, well, after all, we're all still friends, but so are we. You don't have to hold back just because you feel sorry for him. You deserve to be happy too, Carver." Ikoa buried his face back into Atsumu's belly. Atsumu ran his fingers through his hair, helping him calm down a little. "Whatever happened, happened. We love you, Carver, don't you ever forget that, and we're always here for you. Listening. Talking. Whatever you need, we're here." Ikoa sobbed even more, his heart lightened up by Atsumu's words. He wrapped his arms around Atsumu, gave him a quick kiss on his cheek and buried his face in his shoulder. Atsumu smiled a little and stroked Ikoa's back. Ikoa couldn't say a word. He was so busy crying that he closed his eyes after a while because he was so exhausted. It was all too much. He was tired from the flight, drunk, and worn out from crying. His emotions were all over the place. 2 years of anxiety finally slipped out and now he couldn't hold back. All this time he had hoped that Iwaizumi and he had a chance to at least get back to a working friendship, but with that night he knew they did not. It was over. Once and for all. It didn't take that much longer and Ikoa would fall asleep. It was about 3 a.m. when Sakusa slowly opened the door to Ikoa's guest room. He could see Atsumu leaning back and dozing and Ikoa lying on the bed with his head resting on Atsumu's lap. He had fallen asleep. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 smiled slightly, because the two of them looked really cute lying there. Then he began to whisper. Hey, Achu. Atsumu muttered. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 giggled a little, entered the room and gently touched Atsumu's shoulder to wake him up. His boyfriend looked incredibly cute when he was sleepy. Hey baby. Omi. Atsumu opened his small tired sleepy eyes. He noticed that Ikoa was asleep on his lap, so he carefully put his hands up to stretch for a moment and then rubbed his eyes. Hey, it's getting late, we should go home. Atsumu looked down at Ikoa and then back up to 𝒂𝒂𝒄. He shook his head and pouted. I can't leave him. But you can't let your future husband go back home alone either. Ikoa said in a sleepy voice. He slowly managed to get up from Atsumu, who gave him a worried look. Ikoa smiled weakly. I'm fine soon. Atsumu pressed his lips together and started frowning. He hated it when Ikoa said that. I'm sorry I cried so much, your shirt is all wet because of me. Ikoa smiled sheepishly, rubbed the back of his head with one hand, put the other in front of him, and bowed to apologize. Oh, it's nothing. It is. Do you want to keep this on? I don't have any changing clothes, so yeah, I'll wear this until we get home. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 looked at Atsumu with a disgusted face. Ikoa giggled. Misophobe after all. Chill Omi, I'll take a shower when we get back home. Twice. Whatever. Atsumu scrambled up and propped his hand against the wall to keep his balance. He touched his head with his other hand and groaned. My head hurts. That's your brain trying to comprehend its own stupidity. Atsumu pouted and Ikoa had to giggle. Shut up Omi. What happened? You were cute as hell a few seconds ago. I'm always cute. Yeah, mean Omi. I'm flawless. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 smirked at Atsumu, who gave him an annoyed look back. Carver? Call me if something's up, okay? Anytime. But not now, I have business to do with my boyfriend. Atsumu blushed and quickly turned his head to 𝒂𝒂𝒄, who just smirked at him. Omi. Ikoa covered a small laugh with the back of his hand and then waved them out of his room. Hush, I really don't wanna know what you guys are up to tonight. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. 𝒂𝒂𝒄 grabbed Atsumu's hand and intertwined their fingers. He pulled him along with him out of the room while Atsumu waved at Ikoa and blew him an air kiss. Ikoa returned the kiss and couldn't help but grin like an idiot. I love you idiots. He whispered as the two left his room. The door was closed and Ikoa's smile slowly faded. He sighed, grabbed a pillow and laid back in his bed. He checked his phone. It was 3:24 a.m. There were 35 unread messages in 3 different chats. In the Hot Setters group chat, Akashi attached a photo. Lovebirds are reunited. Wait. Is Ikoa in Japan? He's at my house. Asked 𝒂𝒂𝒄. Carver, why didn't you tell me? He surprised all of us. No one knew about it. Except me. Why am I in Miyagi right now? I miss you guys. Answer your damn phone, Carver. Let's FaceTime. Sugar, it's not that good right now. Suga, we miss ya. We miss you too, Tsumu. Alright, let's FaceTime tomorrow then. Sure thing. Yeah, let's do that. Nah, I'm streaming later. Kenma. What? FaceTime. Tomorrow. Fine. Stop staring at me like a murderer, Atsumu, I can see you. Yay. Alrighty babes, don't do anything stupid. I'll see you tomorrow and you better tell me everything then. You bet. Bye sugar. Ikoa is online. I love you guys. Ikoa is offline. Ikoa smiled as he read the messages. He couldn't believe that he was reunited with his friends. After a long time apart, he could finally see them again. The other messages he received were from his mum and from Mattsun. Text messages between Mattsun and Ikoa. I just received a file with a person named Toru Ikoa, living in Argentina, who has a sprain and torn ligaments. I know the chances are low, but please don't tell me it's you. Ikoa is online. Mattsun, right, I totally forgot to send you a message. Surprise, I need your help. Mattsun is online. What the actual fuck happened? Mattsun. Why are you awake? It's in the middle of the night. Night shift. So, what happened? Practice. I'll tell you everything when I get to see you on Monday. How's your knee? Is it also affected? We haven't checked, but it doesn't hurt or feel bad in any way, so I think it's fine. We'll check it out on Monday. Are you in Japan yet? Yet. Arrived today. Or should I say yesterday? It's late he. Go to bed. I'm already in bed. Get some rest then. Carver. Mattsun, you're so caring. Just making sure your stupidity doesn't kill you. Mean. Hush. Bedtime. Yeah, whatever, see you on Monday, Mattsun. Sure. Ikuo smiled, looking forward to seeing one of his close friends again. He scrolled through his Haikyuu account and looked at old photos of him, Hanamaki, Matsukura, and Iwaizumi. He stared at the photo until his eyes became glossy again. Who would have thought that you and I would end up like this, Iwa-chan? It's okay. It's your right to be mad at me. I deserve this. Ikuo locked his phone and buried his face into his pillow, crying himself to sleep.